Hey y'all, welcome to Racing Crafts and Sensational Stamps. Today I'm going to be making a Christmas card. I know you guys are all like, no, not yet, but it's time. We all know it. So I'm going to make this card here. You guys have probably seen this before. Janie made a card for Halloween using this style. And I asked her if it was okay if I scrap lifted it, and she said yes. So this is her, I think she calls it a pop-up card or something like that. But it's kind of like an easel card, except it's not the normal easel card like we see. So this is what I am making today, except I didn't get it all the way up like that. Okay? And I wanted to show you guys this way, because I film upside down, so I have to flip everything, and I didn't know a good way to do that. So I'm going to pause you and put the camera back where I usually film, and we'll go ahead and make this card. And I will see you guys in a minute. Okay, I'm back now. There's going to be a slight difference between the two cards. Simply because after I got done making the card so I knew how to do it, I realized that A, I didn't have any more of the pattern paper that matches it, and B, I decided that I wanted to change a few things. So that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be fairly similar. The only difference is going to be the greeting on the inside will be a different color, and the pattern paper is different. So that is the only differences here. So I'm going to bring my card base in, and I normally use white. Whoo, wait, sorry about that. My camera kind of, here, I'll set him right there. Maybe I'll zoom out a little bit so we have room to focus on something else. Okay, so I usually use 7 1/4 by 4 3/4 inch card bases, which is what this is as well. It fits in the standard Christmas card envelopes, and I buy these after Christmas when they put all the Christmas cards on clearance. It's a great time and a really economical way to get envelopes. So what I have here is I have one that is simply 7 1/4 by 9, I think it's 9 3/4. 9 1/2. Sorry. It's 7 1/4 by 9 1/2, and I scored at 4 3/4 to get this card size. And I'm going to turn it this way so my fold's at the top. And all I am going to do is I'm going to open it, and I'm going to fold it down and line it up with the fold of my card. And I'm going to grab my bone folder and crease that. Oops. Let me get... Okay, so mine's going to be a little off, but that's alright. It'll work out for the most part. So then you should have this shape. I'll turn it upside down so you can see it here. It goes just like that. So I'm going to flatten it back out. So I've got my surface to work with. And then I've got my inside layer, which stays the same. And if you click the information bar below, there will be a link to my blog, and I will have all of these sizes, the things I used. I will have a link to this guy, and this is Santa in a Chimney, I believe. Yes, Santa in Chimney. And I will leave a link to where you can find him. And he is a Sensational Stamps stamp. He was part of the July release, and he's so cute. But anyways, so I'm going to do a little bit of embossing before we move on and get to assembling. And I'm just going to grab my powder bag here, and I'm just going to powder my 2 pieces. And I'm doing it a little differently. I'm using what I would normally use on the outside for a greeting. I'm using that for a sentiment this time, just because it saves me room on the inside. And I'm going to need that room for the stopper part. So, I am just simply stamping this Merry Christmas. It is a Hero Arts stamp, but I bought it at a garage sale, and it is part of a like promo set or trial set. So I can't tell you which set it is. And before I do that, I have to grab this guy. And I need to draw a pencil line. I forgot to do this. Just so I know where my strip goes for my stopper, and it will give me an idea of where to stamp my sentiment. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. And I'm going to use some ultra fine, Ranger Ultra Fine Gold embossing powder. It's just not Christmas without some gold, right? That's kind of how I think about it. Okay, I'm flicking just some extra powder off, and I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss this. Okay, and I'm going to set this one aside, and I'm going to grab my little die cut piece here, and this is a Spellbinder's Nestability Labels 8 die. And now I'm taking my stamp, and this is from give me 1 second. This is from Unity Stamps, and it's from the Shine set, I think. Let me see here. Embellished Season stamp set. And I'm just going to kind of do my best to get it straight. And I'm going to go ahead and cover that with some gold Ranger embossing powder. And I always sprinkle twice, just in case there's a little piece that got missed. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and close my embossing powder. Put that away. And I'm going to go ahead and set this. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to set that aside and close up my Versamark. Okay, so now I'm going to pull the pieces of my card back in, and I'm going to go ahead and do my inside piece first. And I'm just going to grab my ATG gun. Unfortunately, it warped a little bit when I heat embossed it, but that's okay. It'll be alright. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put this on the inside of our card. Just like that. Okay, now comes the fun part. We're going to go ahead and put the front pieces of pattern of our cardstock down. And I cut this a little bigger than what it needs to be, just because I'm really horrible at lining things up. So it gives me... do it this way. Maybe that will help. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room, and then I can cut the excess off. Which is always helpful, considering I'm pretty sure that I am incapable of making 100% like rectangle cards. Okay, so I'm going to take my second piece, and we'll go ahead and do the same. We will just line up our score mark. And there's going to be a white line, and I'm kind of perfectly okay with that. If that bothers you, maybe you can match your pattern, your cardstock with a marker or something. But I don't think you would want to put pattern, cardstock over it, because you do need to be able to fold it up. So, for this card size, each of these square rectangles of cardstock here are 7 1/4 by 2 3/8. So that means the pattern paper is 7 by 2 1/8. And I'm going to go ahead and layer those. I was afraid you were going to do that. Okay. So we'll just use some art glitter glue in place. Okay. There we go. Okay, then I already put foam tape on the back of my Santa, and you just want to make sure that you put it below where the fold line is going to be on your design. You don't have to use foam tape. You could just glue it straight down. That's perfectly fine. But I did want foam tape. And okay, I do want him over just a little bit. Just like that. Okay, so then he folds nice. And I'm going to go ahead and grab another piece of foam tape. Or two. Okay, and I'm going to throw a little bit of glue on these because they're not so sticky anymore. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit. Here we go. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push this guy down. Okay, now I'm going to open this up, and I have a little scrap of pattern paper here, and it's the same pattern paper that I used on the front, and I just cut it to 1/2 inch by 6 3/4 inches, which is the size of this piece here. It's 4 1/4 by 6 3/4. So this one's just a 1/2 inch piece at 6 3/4, and I put it on one layer of foam tape so that you have a stopper for the front of your card. And that is our card for today. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see y'all next time.